1965 may feel like an entire different lifetime, but even if you're Gen X or Millennial, chances are you know the songs and the icons from that incredible year. Cher, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Supremes, legends in their prime whose music continues to hold cultural cachet 60 years after its release. So join the great pop culture debate as we do the time warp and try to determine the best song of 1965. I've been known to flash as much chest hair as my style icon Tom Jones, but please, keep your panties to yourself. I'm your host, Eric Resniak. Please say, "What's new, pussycat?" to my panelists for this episode. Our first panelist is the man with the Midas touch. It's Makita, Derek Makita.
And with my gold finger, I'll beckon you to enter my web of sin.
Beware, it's sticky. Our next panelist is not named Herman, nor is he a hermit. Please welcome back to the podcast John Higgins, legacy consultant for Sir Elton John, feature writer at eltonjohn.com, and our newest panelist here at the Great Pop Culture Debate.
Don't tell anyone, but my second verse is the same as my first.
Ugh, for the record to our audience, I do not hold out for a Henry. I will gladly take a Willie. And finally, please welcome back Zach Derby, who surprisingly knows a thing or two about songs from 1965.
Ah, yes, emphasis on a thing or two. 3 would be pushing it.
Would you say that, like the Beatles, you need some help?
Always.
Always. And up in the producer booth, we have Bob Erlenbeck, who can't get no satisfaction. If you're curious about how we ended up with this Sweet 16 of 1965, become a Patreon supporter of our little show or listen to the 3-minute preview available wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, you can head to this episode on greatpopculturedebate.com to find the listener bracket, as well as all 16 nominated songs. So you can play along with us at home. While you're there, check out some of our other related episodes, including Best Song of 1978, Best Cher Song, Best Classic Hollywood Movie Star, all available at greatpopculturedebate.com. With that out of the way, let's start in the name of love and get into these debates. First up, the panel unanimously voted to move forward 1-seed Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers, which meant that 4-seed We've Gotta Get Out of This Place by the Animals is living up to its name and is out of this competition. But John, you wanted to say something briefly about the Animals.
Yes, I sure did. There's dogs. There's cats. So We Got It Out of the Place was written by Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil, a husband and wife writing team who actually made it to the actual competition with You've Lost That Loving Feeling. They wrote that. They also wrote other hits like Walking in the Rain on Broadway and Blame It on the Bossa Nova. And We Gotta Get Out of This Place actually was written for the Righteous Brothers, but they passed on it. Then Barry Mann, the writer, was going to release his own version. He recorded it, but by the time that was going to happen, the Animals had already snuck in and recorded and released their version, and it did so well. It was number 2 in the UK, number 13 in the US, that Barry Mann never got the chance. So it's on YouTube if you want to hear it, and I recommend you do. It's really cool.
Awesome. And I'm looking forward to get all this behind-the-scenes info. Were they part of the Brill Building as songwriters? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Very much so. Yeah, Carole King and Neil Sedaka and all. Yeah, they were very much a part of that. Yeah. They wrote everything. They were great.
A great time for music. All right. Next, the majority of the panel is supporting 2-seed I Got You, Babe by Sonny and Cher. But I think 3-seed Do You Believe in Magic by the Lovin Spoonful casts a stronger spell. Derek, tell us why you're sure of all the things Sonny and Cher have got. I will explain that while I don't know anything about a young girl's heart, trust me, magic still makes me happy like an old-time movie. I'll go first. First, let me talk about my rubric for this episode. I'm looking at the overall quality of the song, its timelessness, its legacy. For me, Do You Believe in Magic is just a better song. I Got You, Babe is a little more simple and a little more treacly. To be honest, I'll often skip the song when it comes up on streaming. Do You Believe in Magic, however, has a pulse. It's got drive, and lyrically, it's about the power of music to change the listener's attitude. The song peaked at number 9 on the Billboard charts, and it was ranked at number 216 on Rolling Stone's Greatest Songs of All Time. Fun fact, songwriter John Sebastian came up with the intro by speeding up the background chords from Heat Wave by Martha Reeves and the Vandellas, which, if you listened to our preview, we already said are criminally underrated. Do I love that the inspiration for this song is a young girl? No, but real talk, so many of the songs from the 60s reference young girls, and I think we are only now having a cultural conversation about the end game to all of that. So with that being said, Zach, have I changed your opinion, or are you sticking with Sonny and Cher?
While I do agree that the song is a bit more of a bop and brings me back to McDonald's, I think Sonny and Cher is the better song.
Derek, is it going to be Sonny and Cher, or is it going to be the Lovin Spoonful?
Well, I know what you said is all true, but you got me and baby, I got you. No, it's still Sonny and Cher for me here.
John Higgins, is it going to stick with Sonny and Cher, or are you going to go to Lovin' Spoonful?
Yeah, boy, you got me this close, Eric. But no, I'm going to stick with Sonny and Cher.
If it was a Lovin' tablespoon instead of a Lovin' teaspoon, we could have gotten there. Yeah. All right. So Sonny and Cher will continue into round 2. The panel is again split 3-1, with the majority offering to bottom for the 4 tops and 4 seed I Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie Honey Bunch. But John is unable to resist the temptations and 1 seed My Girl. Zach, be prepared to sweeten the pot for Sugar Pie Honey Bunch. But John, please tell us why My Girl makes you feel this way. John, please go first.
Eric, I'm kind of surprised you didn't lead me in with, John, you'll be talking about My Girl.
I know. Sometimes I just don't hit the obvious one. I go for the even more obvious one. Yeah.
Oh. All right. So first of all, it's going up against I Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie Honey Bunch. I'm not saying that Sugar Pie Honey Bunch is responsible for these alarming spike in diabetes in America over the last 5 decades. But I'm not saying that.
Wilford Brimley, eat your heart out.
And if you want honey, actually, the song My Girl has the line, I got so much honey that the bees envy me. So we're covered. So both of these got to number 1 in the Billboard Hot 100, but My Girl got there 3 months earlier, so paved the way. It was the first of 4 number ones for the Temptations, a group that apparently some radio DJs in the time, I was alive, but I wasn't paying attention, referred to the Temptations as the tall, tan, talented, titillating, tempting Temptations. You can't beat that. My Girl was inducted in the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1998 and the Library of Congress National Recording Registry in 2017. But the point is that by the time we reach the chorus on this song, we've heard 4 hooks, and 3 of them are in the first 10 seconds. So you've got boom, 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 the opening bass line. Then you've got boom, 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 the guitar lick. That's a hook. The first line of the lyric is a hook. I got sunshine on a cloudy day. Come on. So those are in the first 10 seconds. And then the pre-chorus, I guess you'd say, that's a pre-chorus, and that's a hook. So written by, Motown's not-so-secret weapon, Smokey Robinson. Unbelievable track. And I just want to say that if you haven't yet, and I highly recommend you do, track down the documentary Standing in the Shadows of Motown. It is one of the first sort of documentaries that covered the behind-the-scenes musicians of songs we've heard all over the place. In this case, they're called the Funk Brothers. It is... it makes you laugh. It makes you cry. It just warms the heart. And I guess I'll close with the fact that, the 4 tops gave us a bop, no question. But the Temptations gave us a warm, unforgettable anthem of love.
Wonderful argument. I'm curious, Derek, has he swayed you? Are you sticking with the 4 tops, or are you thinking about swaying to the Temptations?
I think My Girl is very iconic, but for me, it's still I Can't Help Myself.
Zach, is it going to be I Can't Help Myself or My Girl?
All good points by John, but I'm sticking with the 4 tops.
I'm switching to My Girl. It is a 1 seed, and Sugar Pie Honey Bunch is a 4. No offense to the Cheerios Honey Nut Bee, but it's no Anna Klumsky. And it's no Thomas Jane. And so actually saying bees, Thomas Jane, and Anna Klumsky is actually very triggering to anyone born in the 70s and 80s. But I'm going to give it to My Girl, which is a 1 seed, and actually a split 1. My Girl will continue into round 2. So well done, John.
He can't see without his glasses.
Thank you very much. All right, next, it's another unanimous decision by the panel, which has decided that there's nothing strange about moving 3 seed It's Not Unusual by Tom Jones into round 2, which means that the Beatles and 2 seed Ticket to Ride have a one-way trip out of this competition. But John, you wanted to speak on Ticket to Ride.
Boy, you know that you've got a good band when their 7th consecutive number 1 hit in the UK and their 3rd consecutive number 1 hit in the US doesn't make it past the first round.
Yep.
That's insane. This is primarily a John song, written with Paul McCartney, but John led the charge on this. And he later on said, according to my research, that it was about prostitutes in Hamburg, Germany. So the Beatles played in Hamburg before they made it big. And apparently, the prostitute's clean bill of health card was called a ticket. And in British slang, having sex is a ride. So theoretically, and according to some research, that's what it was about. Now, you got to wonder if the Carpenters knew that this was the case when they covered it in 1969. I'm just saying.
That's amazing. First of all, this changes everything. If I had known that this was a song about sex workers, I 100% would have voted for it. My stance on this is very clear, but it is still up against It's Not Unusual by Tom Jones, who is essentially a sex worker, just didn't get paid for it. But great job. Thank you very much. Ticket to Ride is a wonderful song, but we will be moving It's Not Unusual into round 2. Speaking of the Beatles, they're back and currently need no assistance, as one seat Help has the majority of the panel pushing it into round 2. But Derek thinks West Coast is the best coast, and he is picking 4-seed California Girls by the Beach Boys. John, tell us why you never needed anybody's help in any way, particularly when it comes to defending the Beatles. Derek, tell us why you wish all the votes could be for California Girls. Please go first.
Yeah, so the 20-second instrumental of the Beach Boys' California Girls is so evocative of California and surf rock in general. You can just picture yourself riding down the PCH with the top down in your brand new Ford Mustang, headed to Santa Monica or Venice Beach. This song is a celebration of women from all over the U.S., but concludes that California Girls are indeed the best of all. It's one of the Beach Boys' most iconic songs, and it was released on their 1965 album in July, so it appropriately titled Summer Days and Summer Nights. That orchestral prelude at the beginning has become one of pop's most recognizable intros. It cemented the Beach Boys' transition from just a simple surf pop group into something more sophisticated. It peaked at number 3 on Billboard's Hot 100, and honestly, it offers something more lighthearted, fun, escapist, in a time when, the counterculture was getting a bit more serious around things like women's liberation and civil rights and the Vietnam War. So it has a sunny optimism, I think, that wouldn't last much longer into the 60s.
Great arguments. Zach, I'm curious, has he swayed you? Are you sticking with the Beatles and Help? Or are you open to California Girls by the Beach Boys?
I do love that song by the Beach Boys, but I'm sorry, Derek, I am going to stick with the Beatles here.
John, how about you? Are you interested in possibly switching to the Beach Boys, or are you going to stick with the Beatles and Help?
Going to stick with the Beatles.
Yeah, love the Beach Boys, love California Girls. The Beatles had 4 songs on this bracket. Spoiler warning. I don't think any of them, except for this one, makes it past round 1. We cannot go into round 2 with no Beatles songs from 1965, so that's where I'm coming from. But if you have not checked out our top 10 Beach Boys list on our website, we'll attach it to this article. Amazing band, and this was them really beginning to come into their own, so thank you very much. Okay, so next, get ready for a big 60s swing, as the rest of round 1 is all unanimous decisions by the panel. First, the panel said go to the Supremes and 2-seed Stop in the Name of Love, which meant a sour outcome for Marvin Gaye, and 3-seed How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You. The Rolling Stones and 1-seed Satisfaction actually did get exactly that, as it sped past the Beatles and 4-seed 8 Days a Week. And the Righteous Brothers and 2-seed You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin' has found our respect, which meant that Jackie DeShannon and 3-seed What the World Needs Now Is Love has finished climbing the mountains of this bracket. But John, I know you specifically wanted to speak on Jackie DeShannon, if nothing else.
Yeah, and also I'll take any chance to give some love to the songwriters, Burt Bacharach and Hal David. Needle drop on any of their tunes and unbelievable stuff. So What the World Needs Now peaked at number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100. Jackie DeShannon didn't write this, aforementioned Bacharach David, but she was actually one of the first female singer-songwriters of the era. She wrote When You Walk in the Room, which is a song that if you don't know the title, you'd know it if you heard it. And, wait for it, Betty Davis Eyes.
Oh, no shit.
Now, on the Patreon preview here, I pointed out that, fun fact, Jimmy Page was a session musician before he joined Led Zeppelin, formed Led Zeppelin, and he played guitar on the song Downtown by Petula Clark and Goldfinger. Fun fact, Jackie DeShannon had an affair with Jimmy Page around this time, so he was everywhere.
Jimmy Page basically is 1965 is what I've heard from this. Good for him. I love this song. I love the Dionne Warwick version of this song in particular. But if you are listening to this, I want you to chime in on social media. I would love to do a Best Burt Bacharach song episode. I think that would be incredible. There are so many great Burt Bacharach songs out there. So thank you very much. Also, John, did you want to say something about 8 Days a Week? We kind of glossed over that one.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was never a single in the UK, but it did very well in the US. It was obviously number one. Just that was their middle name. It was their seventh number one in the US in just over a year. The song utilizes a rare fade in. If you pay attention to it, it fades up, which no songs were doing back then. And the title, 8 Days a Week, was a Ringoism. Ringo was known for coming up with phrases that didn't really make a whole lot of sense, but sounded cool. He also came up with the phrase, a hard day's night. So I think it's adorable for that reason.
Giving Ringo a little bit of love. I think that's beautiful. So that being said, that's the end of round one, folks. We're going to take a quick break to enjoy a spoonful of Lovin'. Interpret that however you like. We'll be right back.
Is Captain Picard objectively the best Star Trek captain? Did The Sopranos really need that ending? These are the questions that keep us up at night. Welcome to the Great Pop Culture Debate, where passion meets pedantry. We dissect, we digress, and occasionally we devolve into glorious geeky chaos. But we can't do it without you. Support the Great Pop Culture Debate on Patreon and unlock a treasure trove of bonus content. Early access to episodes, exclusive bonus debates, and the chance to finally weigh in on that great Die Hard Christmas movie debate. Is it? Is it? Join the conversation. Support the Great Pop Culture Debate on Patreon, because some debates, well, they just need to happen.
And we are back for round two of our Best Song of 1965 debate. Before we get to the Elite Eight, I want our panelists to share their social media and what else they're working on. Derek, I'd like to start with you.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram and Threads at DRKMKT. I am continuing to work on myself, and I still maintain that that is enough. Thank you very much.
It is enough.
I don't know if you asked how some of us got to the 1965 song knowledge, but I will volunteer that my father was a DJ in the late 80s and early 90s, party DJ, bar DJ, not radio DJ. But constantly surrounded by 50s and 60s music. So that's how I have any knowledge or appreciation of these songs. So shout out to my father, who may or may not be in heaven.
Thank you for that. I'm also digging this beatnik chic top you've got going on for us tonight.
Thank you. Yes,
Mr.
Yes.
Tambourine Man, going to join Bill Shatner up on stage for a rousing rendition. Thank you very much. John Higgins, welcome back. What are your socials? Where can people find you? What are you working on?
Yeah, so as before, I am basically a Facebook person on socials, but now that I've joined the squad, you can find a blurb about me in the panelist section of the website for this podcast. Hopefully I'll sprinkle in some more information in there. And what I'm working on is Elton. The Elton John fan community is strong and vibrant, and especially more so now that we've just announced the 50th anniversary package of his seminal album, Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, which the first album ever to hit number one coming out of the box on Billboard. So Elton.
And that should be out right now, correct? Right?
Yes.
And how did you get involved with 60s music, he said, asking the completely indelicate question.
Yeah, so again, show of hands, alive in 1960, I was the only person in this group alive in 1965. I was 5 years old, but I was still listening to music. I had a brother who's 10 years, still do, a brother that's 10 years older than me. So his sort of musical taste, which leaned heavy towards Motown, trickled down to me, which is a fantastic way to learn. So I reveled then and am reveling even more now in the fact that 1965 was such a strong, deep year. We have acts that have multiple signature songs that any other act would kill to have that one song, and they've got 5 or 6 of them. Yeah. And not so that lame, but also the breadth. So many different types of songs, so many different types of hits. It was an unbelievable time that actually just gives me goosebumps when I think about it.
Yeah, a great time to be alive, at least from a musical perspective. So thank you very much. Zach Derby, welcome back. Where can people find you? What are you doing?
You can find me on the Twitters and the Blue Skies under Zach Deuce, and we've been pretty busy with Podcasters Assemble, and we wrapped up our Back to the Future season, and now we're kind of just doing some spin-off episodes. We are getting into spooky season, so we will be dropping our Halloween episode, which was listener determined. They went and they voted, and the movie was, I can't tell you.
Oh, the suspense is killing me. I hope it'll last.
Gonna have to go download it. And then we'll also be getting into, the holidays, and we'll do a couple Christmas films. And then Eric and I, by the end of the year, should be announcing what season will be coming in 2026.
Fabulous. That's Eric Slater, by the way, friend of the pod and sometime guest. He actually will be on our best Super Nintendo game later this season. So thank you very much. How did you become acclimated to 1960s music?
I work in the industry because the radio station that I work for, Classic Rock, so we dabble starting in the 60s and we get up to the 90s, which is considered classic rock. Oof. It hurts. But the bulk of the station is 70s and 80s. And honestly, there is a distinct sound. Once you hit 90s, it doesn't fit well on a classic rock, even though it is technically old enough. So we are very, very choosy with anything from the 90s. But there's a fair amount of 60s and history that so much of the 70s and 80s was built on that we are talking about here that you normally find on like oldies stations if they still exist, but they have found their way into classic rock and classic hits at this point.
Yeah, I just want to say, to echo Zach's point, there's so much of the music we listen to now that is based so much on the foundation of the songs that we're talking about in this episode. And also, bring back the B3 organ in pop music, you cowards. It never sounded so good. Thank you very much, Zach. So, the best place to follow us is on Blue Sky at gpcd.bsky.social or at Great Pop Culture Debate on Instagram or TikTok. You should also make sure to subscribe to our page on YouTube, where we're posting original video content. But what you really need to do right this very minute is sign up for our weekly newsletter. It's new every Tuesday at noon, and it tells you about everything coming out in pop culture that week. Sign up by finding the link on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or via our link tree on any of our social media accounts. I got into 60s music because my father was very much a big 60s music fan, and whenever we would drive anywhere, he would put on WHEN in Syracuse, New York, and listen to the 60s. And as producer Bob can attest, when we would go on day trips with our friends in the car, he would croon along, put his hand down my mother's blouse, and fondle her breasts with his children and their friends in the car. Welcome to the 60s, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 60s. All right, so let's get into round two so we can get some satisfaction. First up, it looks like a unanimous victory for one seed Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers, which means the panel is breaking up with two seed I Got You Babe by Sonny and Cher. But Derek, you wanted to talk about Sonny and Cher before they bow out.
They say we're young and we don't know. Before Cher was a megastar in her own right, it was Sonny and Cher, and this was their signature hit, and it reached number one on Billboard's Hot 100 in August of 65. More than it being a solid hit in 1965, like many of the songs in these brackets, it had legs for years, being featured in countless movies and TV shows and parodies and commercials and covers and Golden Girls episode. Saying that it's a song you just can't avoid is an understatement, just as it would play every morning for Bill Murray waking up in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania in 1993's Groundhog Day. I Got You Babe is iconic, and it's an evergreen karaoke staple around the world. It's just up against Unchained Melody, which is a juggernaut.
There's the J word, yeah. So we will be moving the Righteous Brothers into the Final Four. Next, the panel has another unanimous decision, this time for three seed It's Not Unusual by Tom Jones, which meant we were saying, whoa, 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 to one seed My Girl by The Temptations. John, you wanted to speak on My Girl one last time before we said goodbye.
Yeah, I did. There was something I left out, and I feel ashamed about it. So during the research for My Girl, of course, you go to YouTube, you watch some of the performance videos from back in the time on American Bandstand or Shindig or whatever. Watching the Temptations perform their choreography, their iconic choreography, is marvelous. So I was watching it, the choreography, especially for My Girl, and I flashed, and I said to myself, would this choreography have fit in a Lady Gaga concert? And the answer was yes. Yes, my little monsters, it would.
Yeah, that's a great point. I do think there was some absolutely killer choreography back then, and they were all singing live. Right. So, that's real talent there. They're
not singing live now? Wait, what are you, what?
I know, shocking. I do briefly want to talk about It's Not Unusual, as we haven't really talked about it at all yet, so I'd want to kind of put it on the field here. These are both great songs. I'll get that out of the way. I would listen to all these over and over and over again, never get tired. But It's Not Unusual is the definitive Tom Jones song. I guess you could say My Girl is the definitive Temptation song. But how definitive is it? It was the theme song to his TV variety show, and he performed it not once, not twice, but 3 times on the Ed Sullivan Show. For the youngins listening, the Ed Sullivan Show was an incredibly important showcase for talent at that time. Performing on it could very much make a career. The fact that Tom Jones performed it 3 times on that show is a testament to him and this song. It's Not Unusual was also one of Jones's first songs and his breakthrough hit. It peaked at number 10 on the Billboard Top 100 and topped the charts in the UK, but only after it had first been released on pirate radio, because the song was initially rejected by British radio due to Jones's potent sexuality. I love that for him. That's why I'm giving it the edge here. Oh, hi, Zach.
Also, it closed out Mars Attacks with him singing
did.
to the animals. I mean, there was no better way to end that movie.
I love that movie. I love that movie unironically, and I think it is deserving of more attention, much like Tom Jones, and It's Not Unusual, so we'll be talking about him more in the Final Four. Next, in a battle of 2 songs featuring exclamation points, the panel is evenly divided between 1 seed Help by the Beatles and 2 seed Stop in the Name of Love by the Supremes. John, tell us why you think Stop is the supreme choice here. Zach, bug us until we switch our votes to the Beatles. John, please go first.
You got me on this one, Eric. I thought you weren't going to tee me up, but you did. I was going to ask, is this in fact the first time that this podcast has had 2 exclamation points competing against one another?
Maybe.
Punctuation ran rampant in the mid-1960s songs, didn't it?
Gone now, dead now.
Along with the English language.
Yep.
Did I say that? So 1965, 2 years before Diana Ross got her name above the title, basically, the Supremes weren't just making hits. They were rewriting the rules for what a female group could be, right? They were the most successful Motown act of all. Male and female. They were also the most successful American vocal group ever to this day. If you talk about charts, chart placements, and sales, and so on and so forth. Stop in the Name of Love, 4th #1 single in the U.S., something that no other girl group had done before, 4 U.S. #1s. They ended up having 12 #1 hits, which put them second only to the Beatles amongst group in the Billboard Hot 100. The song is written by and produced by Holland Dozier Holland, the 3-man songwriting group that pretty much invented the Motown sound. But both songs, Help and Stop in the Name of Love, have their choruses open the song, which I find really interesting. It's an interesting songwriting choice. But Stop in the Name of Love goes a little bit further in that the chorus is not at the end of the verses. If you listen to it, the chorus precedes each verse, which I can't think of many other songs that do that. As with the Temptations and many other Motown acts of the day, the choreography to this thing is iconic. I was fortunate enough to see the Supremes perform live in 1967 at Expo 67 in Montreal. I was 7 years old. I was way up there in the rafters. I don't remember much about that show. I remember this. It was thrilling. It thrills me to this day. So Stop in the Name of Love isn't just a Baby Please Don't Leave Me song. It's a Baby Please Don't Leave Me song if it was written by Shakespeare, not to mention just a theatrical performance through the airwaves.
Yeah, amazing song. This could be a final 2 matchup, honestly. This is a crappy luck of the bracket here. But Zach, you have to talk to us about the Beatles. Help.
Well... it's 1965. It's the Beatles. We only had 3 songs. There's a lot more that we could be talking about. This was, I think, in a lot of ways, pop perfection. It's upbeat, it's catchy, it's got underlying vulnerability in the song. It gives you a depth that a lot of 60s hits didn't have. A lot of them were catchy, but this one was a little bit more. It was released right in the height of Beatlemania. It became a title track for their second feature film. Instant iconic worldwide as it hit number one in both the UK singles and the Billboard Hot 100. Global reach by this song. Countless artists have covered this. You've got Tina Turner, Deep Purple, Al Green, The Carpenters, Joe Cocker, not even counting how many people cover this live when they're out at a concert. It's also, which I did not know, this was very personal to John because Beatlemania, the fame, yeah, they were popular, and then they hit the U.S. and John was overcome with the amount of fame and everything that was flying towards him. This was actually a call for help for him, which I didn't really know, but this was his way to cathartically kind of get through it and ask for help while working through it on his own. Of the songs we've talked about, this is, I feel, the biggest and most popular song by the Beatles of 1965. So if we're going to be talking about any one Beatles song this far in, I feel this is the one. And if it gets knocked out by the Supremes, that's a hell of a group to get knocked out. I mean, the Supremes and the Beatles are two iconic groups either way. I'm happy either way that this goes, but I landed on the Beatles with this.
Yeah. Mr. Tambourine Man, Derek Makita, or are you going? Is it the Supremes or the Beatles?
I could seriously go either way on this, but I think I'm going to stick with the Supremes.
I'm going to stick with the Beatles here, and I agree with everything that John said about Stop in the Name of Love. I think it's a great song, but the Beatles, this is the midpoint of their career, and I think everything that Zach said about this being a reflection on their own mega stardom, and this song actually is amazing. It's a 1 seed, and Stop in the Name of Love is a 2 seed, so Help will continue into the final 4. Finally, in round 2, 3/4 of the panel wants to keep the rock slide going with the Rolling Stones and 1 seed Satisfaction, which means everyone but John has indeed lost that love and feeling for 2 seed The Righteous Brothers. John, tell us why you still have brotherly love for this righteous song. I will pull some moves like Jagger as I stump for Satisfaction. I'll go first. These are both exceptional songs, incredibly different. Love and Feeling harkens back to the classic crooners, but it's amplified with that wall of sound. Satisfaction feels and sounds like something completely new for that time. In some ways, I feel like this matchup is kind of like the most emblematic of what must have been like to be living in 65. The earnest establishment versus the cultish counterculture. Like, that's really heady stuff. It went number 1 in 12 countries. It was certified gold in the US. The Stones did have hits prior to Satisfaction, but this was a notable inflection point for the band's career. After this, they released some of their biggest hits, including Get Off of My Cloud, Paint It Black, etc. This is not bad for a song that was written by Keith Richards in his sleep. That's true. He has no memory of writing this, and not because he was completely out of his mind on drugs. He literally wrote it while he was sleeping. John, talk to us about You've Lost That Love and Feeling.
Thanks, Eric. I agree with you. Again, listening to Satisfaction on an AM radio or a transistor radio, that guitar line just cuts through. It was amazing. It got your attention right away. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I don't understand how anybody in this group can't vote for a song that has the line, "Baby, baby, I'd get down on my knees for you."
I do it every Saturday.
It's like I don't know you guys anymore.
I know. And these knees have seen some things, John.
If You've Lost That Loving Feeling was a painting, it would be behind glass in the Louvre. If it was a building, it would be on 34th and 5th. If it was a Queen song, it would be Bohemian Rhapsody. You've Lost That Loving Feeling was not just a number 1 song. It was the most played song in America for the entire 20th century.
Wow.
Also, even into the later years. So that beats Hey Jude. It beats Yesterday. It beats Satisfaction. Every song ever for 100 years was eclipsed by this 3-minute and 45 cathedral of cathartic breakup love song. It was knocked out of that title in 2019 with Every Breath You Take. So to me, that's just time for the mic drop. I just think, it's the hill I'm going to die on. To pre-shadow Unchained Melody, not a Righteous Brothers song. I mean, yes, it's on the label, but only one of those guys sang that song. This has both the Righteous Brothers, so I'm really, really passionate about it for a number of reasons, including that one. The Stones, yeah, the swagger, the attitude, but the Righteous Brothers gave us this soul-shaking anthem that still makes people like Tom Cruise, sing it in bars when they want to pick up people for sex. But when BMI, the British, I'm sorry, not the British, but the Broadcasting Music Incorporated, crowns you the king of an entire century, game over.
That is a very good argument. Derek, are you sticking with the Stones or are you switching to the Righteous Brothers?
So here's the thing. I hear everything that John just said. We do have another Righteous Brothers song moving forward here. To not have Satisfaction and the Rolling Stones in this matchup in the Final Four is unacceptable to me, just as it was unacceptable for you to not have a Beatles song in the Final Four. So I'm sticking with Satisfaction.
Okay, Zach, is it going to be the Rolling Stones or the Righteous Brothers for you?
If it wasn't the Stones, I would switch, but I've got to stick with the Stones, again, going into the top 4 at this point.
John, I actually will go ahead and switch my vote for you. It's not going to matter because the Stones are the 1 seed, but I'll switch it because of the tidbit that this was the most played song of the 20th century. And I was holding my breath when you said it was knocked out in 2019 because I was like, oh God, what was it? Was it like Despacito or something? But thankfully it was Every Breath You Take, which will allow that. So that does mean that the Stones and Satisfaction will make it into the Final Four. With that, we have our Final Four. We're going to take a quick break and throw our panties at Tom Jones. We'll be right back.
Welcome, seekers of knowledge, to the hallowed halls of the great pop culture debate archives. Are you yearning for deeper understanding of the cinematic universe? Perhaps a spirited discussion on the merits of 80s cartoons? Or maybe you simply wish to settle once and for all the age-old question, is cereal soup? Our extensive collection of episodes awaits you, each one a treasure trove of passionate arguments, insightful analysis, and the occasional, shall we say, spirited disagreement. From the epic battles of fandom to the quiet contemplation of artistic merit, you'll find it all within our digital stacks. So come explore our full library of episodes at greatpopculturedebate.com. Your quest for pop culture enlightenment begins here.
And we are back with the Final Four of our Best Song of 1965 debate. At this point in the show, I like to take a step back and see if it shook out the way that I expected it to. I also like to add at this point that no matter which option wins, we are celebrating all of these entries, and I hope nobody gets salty about what comes next. We have Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers, a 1 seed, versus It's Not Unusual by Tom Jones, a 3 seed. Help by the Beatles, a 1 seed, versus Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones, also a 1 seed. Tom Jones has no business being here. I pushed it. I love the song. I love Tom Jones. It should not be here, considering things that have gone out. The Supremes should be here. You've Lost That Loving Feeling should be here. In fact, I would love a Righteous Brothers versus Righteous Brothers off in the left side of the bracket. There are multiple other songs that have been kicked out that I think are actually stronger than It's Not Unusual. But I'm going to put it on the potent sexuality of Tom Jones. And I can't complain about that. So we're going to go around the horn. Unchained Melody versus It's Not Unusual. I would like to start with Derek Makita. Where are you going?
It's still Unchained Melody for me.
We haven't really talked about Unchained Melody, so if anyone would like to chime in with their thoughts, I would love to hear them. Derek?
Yeah, so it's dramatic, it's emotional, it's orchestral in a way that a lot of these other songs are not. So because of that, it has a more universal appeal. It's a song that everyone would listen to, not just the kids, but the parents too. It's a timeless love ballad that went on to become one of the most covered songs of all time. I think it's up to like over 1,500 at this point. Its use in the 1990 film Ghost also continued its multi-generational appeal. Maybe the reason why it's in this debate is because it's evergreen. I think It's Not Unusual is also a very quintessential 1965 song, but as we know in past debates centering on a particular year or decade, we like to thread the needle for the sake of the argument. So is it best 1965 song or best song of 1965? So it just depends on where you're coming down on that, I guess.
Great point on that last one. John Higgins, is it going to be Unchained Melody or It's Not Unusual?
Actually, I'm a Tom Jones fan, front and center. And again, I said before, Unchained Melody to me is not a Righteous Brothers song. Call me an idiot. So I'm going to go with Tom Jones. But if I may, I found a through line between the two Righteous Brothers songs. So You Lost That Lovin' Feeling, sung by the Righteous Brothers, Bobby Hatfield and Bill Medley. Bill Medley and Jennifer Warren sang I've Had the Time of My Life, right, in Dirty Dancing. Dirty Dancing, Patrick Swayze, Ghost, Unchained Melody. Bam.
Ghost, Unchained Melody, Ceramics, Jimmy Page, huge fan of Ceramics. It all comes together.
I mean, yeah, that scene to me is with Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze. That's like an OnlyFans. That's like the first OnlyFans, clip I can think of.
There you have it, folks. The first, and it started an entire kink for pottery. Yeah, thank you very much. So you're going with It's Not Unusual here.
Yes.
Okay. Zach, is it going to be Righteous Brothers, Unchained Melody, or It's Not Unusual by Tom Jones?
I'm going to go with Unchained Melody on this one.
You're not stupid for saying that it's not a Righteous Brothers song, John. I completely hear that. And it's such a great point that it's only one of the Righteous Brothers, who were not actually brothers, correct?
Plot twist. They weren't righteous, they weren't brothers, and they weren't black. And if a lot of the audiences, a lot of the people on the radio thought that they were black singers. And if you look at some of the reaction videos on Righteous Brothers songs now from black podcasters, they're like, what the? Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
These two men were very white. But boy, they could sing. And I hear the point that it's only one righteous brother singing here. It's kind of like the Mario and the Luigi. But this song to me is just so powerful, and it has so much cultural. It hits you. I think the point that it's kind of like the Adele of 1965, right? Everyone can listen to it. The kids can listen to it. The adults can listen to it. The cats, the dogs, they're all getting along. That's why I'm giving it to Unchained Melody. So it's 3 for Unchained Melody. It will go into the final 2. Next, it's Help by the Beatles, Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. John, I know that you were not looking forward to either of these being in the final 2, right?
That's correct. Yeah. But I do have something to say about Help. Even though it was really well covered before. But I think a masterclass could be, hopefully is being taught on just the backing vocals of that song. So John sang the lead. During the verses, Paul and George weaved counter melody harmonies behind John's lead vocal. The first line of the backing vocal pre-echoes what John says. They say the words before the lead vocal. On the second line, they repeat what John was just singing. On the third line, they again precede what he's saying. And on the end of the verse, they are in unison in tight time, which is how backing vocals are normally done. Name me another song that had backing vocals like that intelligent, that sort of Mozart-esque in that time or any other. It was genius.
So does that mean you're voting for Help then?
So I'm voting for Help. Yes, I am.
Thank you very much. Zach, are you voting for Help or are you voting for Satisfaction?
The rock and roll angsty revolutionary energy makes me think Stones, but overall I think Help is a bit better. I think that'll edge out the Stones with this one.
Derek McKidd, is it going to be Help or Satisfaction for you?
So here's where I'm coming down on this. I am still with the Stones here because I don't think anybody alive or dead, frankly, would say that Help is one of the most important and influential rock songs ever recorded. I think you could say that about Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. So I'm still with Satisfaction here.
It's an interesting debate there. I actually don't disagree with what you just said, that in terms of its influential nature in all of rock music, Satisfaction gets the edge. But I do think that if we're looking, as you said, at what is the best song of 1965 versus what is the best 1965 song, I guess I would say that I would also agree that Satisfaction from the Rolling Stones is the better 1965 song. Which one of these was actually higher in the standings? I don't have that information in front of me.
You mean the charts at the time?
Well, I would love to know that information, but in our bracket, Help had more votes. Yeah.
And Help was a number one, yeah.
Yeah, and they're both 1 seeds. So in a tie, it would go to Help, even if I vote for Satisfaction, which I'm going to vote for Satisfaction. Yes, John Higgins.
Can I say?
Yes.
Derek swayed me. I'm going to vote for Satisfaction now.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. What can I say? Again, I think of me as a kid listening to transistor radios or car radios at the time. When Help came on, it was a song, and it was like there were a bunch of good Beatles songs out there, and this was one of them. Satisfaction just like introduced this music to my ears. So
that riff by Keith Richards is so iconic and recognizable. Like right away, you know what it is. So I mean, come on,
genius.
In his sleep. Okay, so that means Satisfaction is moving into the final 2, giving us a final...
Bob also just sent me a message. He said, Zach, quickly switch now and screw everything up. So am I supposed to say that now, Bob?
No, actually, that we are going to move Satisfaction into the final 2, giving us a final 2 of Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers versus Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. I would love to start with Zach here. Which one are you going with?
between The Righteous Brother and the Stones, I would go with the Stones on this one. Between those two, yeah, Stones.
Okay. Derek, is it the Stones or is it the Righteous Brothers?
I mean, Satisfaction is one of the greatest rock songs of all time. Unchained Melody ranks as one of the greatest love songs of all time. So again, I go back to the premise of the best 1965 song versus the best song of 1965. I think for me, it's still probably Unchained Melody, again, just for the universal appeal of it. I think it's one of those songs that everybody in 1965 was listening to versus you had to have very specific taste to be listening to Satisfaction.
Yeah. John, where are you going on this one?
Interesting comment, Derek. I am going with Satisfaction on this. I, again, have distinct memories of hearing that song on the radio when I was yay high. I don't remember Unchained Melody really sort of cutting through and sticking with me. So Satisfaction, from the heart.
I am going back to your argument from last round, Derek, which is the song that really kind of changed pop music from its inception, and that is Satisfaction here. And this is not the way I initially filled out my bracket, by the way. I'm as surprised as anyone. I couldn't be more surprised if I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet. But I'm giving to the Rolling Stones because I do think it was a new sound. This was that, like we were saying, this matchup, you had the establishment and the Righteous Brothers, and you had the counterculture and the Stones. And I think what was the most interesting song that had the most profound impact on culture, I give it to the Stones here. And also, that man on my TV is telling me how white my shirts can be. So it was also kind of prescient about the way that the media influences us, right? It's a very cool song in so many ways. But there you have it, folks. Our pick for the best song of 1965 is Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. Do you agree? Do you think that we didn't give you any satisfaction? Tell us how you really feel by leaving a comment on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or find us on Blue Sky or Instagram. While you're there, make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast so you can hear about what new debates are coming soon, vote in open polls, and even decide which topics we tackle next. I want to say thank you to my panel. This was groovy, baby. Yeah! And thank you for listening. If you loved what you heard, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you get even more exclusive content and you get episodes a whole day early. We hope you have a good one, and remember, everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion.